All right, here we go. Another Parawing session. And today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. Something that I believe is one of the biggest benefits of owning and using a Parawing in certain days. So today we have a southwesterly wind, which for us is a cross onshore wind, right? So it's not particularly easy in these conditions to go out with the paddle and get a good angle because you're always being pushed back onto shore. So we've done downwinders and southwesterlies, but what we have to do is we have to paddle out at least 2Ks, well, to be comfortable and have a good angle. Otherwise, if you just, you know, go offshore maybe 500 meters or a kilometer, you're just having to peel left for the whole run, and it's not particularly a fun way to ride downwind if you're just peeling left. So today what I'm going to do is I'm launching off Greenpoint. I'm going to ride into the bay maybe 5Ks, 6Ks, and then in the middle of the bay I'm going to start my downwinder. I'm just going to keep my GPS on my watch, and when I hit 5Ks I'll assess my angle with St. Kilda, and if it's a good angle and the bumps are going the right direction, I'm just going to drop the Parawing there, stash it, and hopefully have a good downwinder back into St. Kilda. I have a mate, he's going to be in St. Kilda just winging, so he said go up, do your thing. It's not a good angle for me today because I don't have a Parawing, I just have a paddle, so he's bailing on the downwinder, but he's going to drive me back up to Greenpoint. So it's working out. It doesn't replace a shuttle, but it does allow you to go out in wind angles that are not necessarily favorable for your condition and your location. So let's see how that goes. At the moment, I'm still considering what board and foil to go out on, so I'll reassess once I get to Greenpoint and have a look at the conditions there. It's meant to continue the build, so maybe it's a small board day. If not, I'll take the downwinder board and have fun either way. So let's have a look at how the bay is looking from Greenpoint. All right, so we're here at Greenpoint now, and this is a good illustration of what I'm saying. So if you have a look at the angle of the wind, it's pretty much onshore, pretty much straight down from that yellow beacon. It's coming straight on. So what happens is if we try to do a downwind, we have to paddle out and try to get enough angle to make it downwind and make it all the way to St. Kilda, which is just over that marina into the city. So you can see what the wind is doing when the bumps are going. It's bringing everything onto the shore. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go out as far as I can, probably 5Ks into the bay, somewhere, you know, in that position, and then from out there, perfect angle to ride back into St. Kilda. So this is one of the biggest advantages I feel for Parawing. Cool, so conditions changed probably like 3 times since I started setting up. Decided to go with the 1130S medium fuse, the 150 tail, and it's shimmed with a 0.5 shim and 80 mast with the downwinder board. Now that's just because it's looking really light out there now. So the 150S, the 150 AR tail shimmed will give me a little bit more bottom end, but hopefully it's not going to compromise too much on the top end. I've never ridden this setup before, so let's have a look. As you can see, it's pretty glassy still out there now. The wind is on and off, so there might be some moments where I just have to sit tight and wait. But the plan is, as you can see the winger over there, I'm going to be Parawinging out into the bay as much as I can until I have a good angle, probably past those boats over there, and then heading back into the city with a better angle. All right, here we go. It's looking light as it's probably 50 knots out there, but really on and off. So the other thing that I'm wondering if it's, you know, going out into the bay, will the wind be any stronger out there as well? Because it does get a little bit flaky at certain points near the land, just because it's a little bit warmer in land and it might not just be pushing through. So we'll see. All right, so we just got into the bay, probably 100 meters from shore. There's a little reef right in front of me, but let's see if we can deploy the swing. Parawing. Okay. Might have enough. Still really light. We can just make our way a little bit further out. Just make sure that we clear this reef over here. Wait for a good gust and then get going. To assess from the shore, but Parawing is up. We're riding away from shore now. I'm gonna set maybe around 3.5 Ks in my watch, and we'll have a look at where we end up. So now all I have to do really is look at the bumps, look where I want to end up, and see how far out I need to go. Instead, I would have been with the paddle closer to shore, desperately trying to peel left to make the right line. So I mean, how can you not like this thing? Cool. So just for our reference, our first marker over here, we are about 1.5 K, just about 1.5 K offshore. So for you fellow downwinders out there, you see that yellow buoy off Green Point, you know that's 1.5 kilometers into the bay, which already gives me a much better line. I've done this run many times on the paddle now, and I'll tell you what, it feels really good to be on a Parawing out here. Being able to get out as much as I am right now, I'm literally 3 Ks out, and it's a really good angle to shore. So I might just go another K, just because I can, and it's not taking any time at all. I've been in the water for like 3 minutes now. So let's do that. Here's a big one. Woo! Some bumps coming through, and the other thing, the further I go, the longer period and the bigger the bumps get, which is awesome. Near shore, I mean, it's okay, but they're always a little bit shorter period, and then because it gets a little bit shallower, they tend to peel even more towards the shore. So I reckon I have more than enough right now to send it. Alright, so the Parawing stowed, riding along some good bumps. It's really fun out here. It's a bit crossed up, but that gives us a lot of opportunity to carve around, and it's a little bit hard with the glare. I can see a lot of glare on this side, so I can't read the bumps that well. I'm misreading a bit the bumps because of the glare. I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but the glare going this way is super hard. Whew. The things you see out in the bay, like these birds, like amazing. Woo! Woo! It's like they know. Let's surf together, brother. Amazing. Parawing completely stowed. Bumps are ripping. Absolutely ripping. The 150 shim. Wow. In light conditions, it gives you the bottom end. See, I can pump and I can still get up and over. Woo! Man, oh man. This is what I'm talking about, matching the foil to the condition. People get bogged down with going super fast with their foils and super small wings. Mate, effortless riding is what you're after. You want to surf, you want to be able to just connect and be at the right speed at the right time. It's perfect right now. Yes. Oh yeah. Talk about being in sync with the speed today. Just unreal. Perfect setup. Perfect setup.
So much harder to read the bumps when the sun's out though, God.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Bogged down a little bit there, but that would have been a good turn.
Alright, what a session. Look, this was possibly the perfect use case for the Parawing. Cross onshore wind, doable on a paddle, but you would be peeling left like crazy. I was able to go 4 kilometers offshore and have a straight angle downwind to the final location that I was downwinding to. So you can't really beat that. You know, the ease of use, making your downwinder more fun, getting better angles, maximizing your time, like unreal. I had a ball. There was really light wind at the start. Felt like it was maybe 15 knots, you know, and gusting just over that, not much. And then in the middle of the run, it started to get a little bit more windy as the run went on, and the middle bit was absolutely brilliant. Good bumps. It was a little bit crossed, but clean enough that I could pick the two swells. They weren't they were evenly matched, which is like a condition that I haven't noticed or experienced before, where it's crossed but it's equally crossed. Normally you have one bigger swell crossed with a smaller swell, be it, you know, ground swell with wind swell, or two different wind swells that are just crossing each other. But today it was really balanced, and it felt good. There was energy everywhere. There was energy left, right, and center. The only thing that caught me a little bit off guard was the glare. There was so much sun glare, and I was going left was hard to read the surface of the water. So that's possibly the only thing that I felt went wrong. A little bit dirty, and there was a little bit of debris towards the end of the run. Towards St. Kilda, there was a lot of seaweed, and I was almost making my way all the way through, and then I caught up this clump of seaweed. I think it was a stick or something as well, because it was a bit of a knock on the mast. But nonetheless, man, it was such a good session. Like, as soon as I was up, and getting up was not an issue, you get so confident in exploring the limit of your turns. It's not like you... Sometimes I noticed that with the paddle, I would like pace myself a little bit, because I knew I had probably 10 good paddle ups in me in a run. Over 10 paddle ups, you know you're going to be paddling up at a deficit, and you're not going to be as strong as you were before. So you kind of ride excuse me, you kind of ride a little bit conservatively when you know conditions are not right, and you don't want to be bogging down and having to paddle up a lot. With the Parawing, man, I was ripping turns, and I was getting tips out, and like I wanted to push, because getting up is not an issue. If the wind's there, getting up is fine. So that was super fun. I'm gonna put probably, I think hopefully I filmed you know, some good clips out there. Sometimes I get a little bit distracted with the GoPro, and there's a lot going on, but there was a middle stint there that was very nice. And then also the this setup, a 1130 front wing, the S series 1130S, with a 150 tail shimmed with half a degree shim. Now, I've been trying to find a good setup for the bay when it's light, like 15 knots and under. And I don't like to ride the 1300 and like these bigger foils, or the R, the 1075R, like super big span, and I'm not a fan of it. And I think that the 1130 does the trick. And I was exploring my tail wings to see which tail I needed to put to get the right speed for the bumps under 50 knots. And I think that the 150 with the shim was absolutely gold. I had enough bottom end, was riding really slow sometimes, waiting for something to carry me again, and I was able to really, you know, hold that low speed. And then you have to be very gentle with your pumping during that phase of riding. But you know, I was able to ride really slow, but also when I felt I needed some speed, I could really dig hard and pump hard, and get up and over when I needed to. So it was working so well. It was so well matched to the conditions. Like I think I found what I was looking for. I think I found the front wing with the tail combination for this wind in the bay. Under 15 knots, that's all I'm going to be riding. And if it's really, like if it's 12 knots, instead of going up on the front wing, I might try the 158 and shim that as well. But then you would, if you go on with a really big tail, like a 158 or over, you want to shim it maybe 0.75 or even a degree. So I feel like I would want to shim the 142 at a 0.25, the 150 at a 0.5, and you add 0.25 to the as you go up the range. So the bigger the tail wing, the more you're shimming it, up to 1 degree. I think more than that, it's just way too much shimming. But something to explore, and I think it worked extremely well today. That's the new setup that I'm going to be riding for 15 knots all the time. So good session. I'm gonna be possibly taking the Parawing to the coast again this week. There might be some swell with some really good wind on Thursday. So let's hope for that, because then I could do a proper like wave riding video, just showing, you know, stowing, showing riding, showing kind of everything on the Parawing, on waves and set waves and how that works and getting out and all that stuff. So let's hope for those conditions. Until then, keep ripping out there, everyone.